Should Christians be concerned about abortions? My name is Dr. Richard Kent. I'm a retired GP, and today we're going to discuss, should Christians be concerned about the whole abortion issue? I believe they should. There are 4,000 abortions in the UK every week. If you are a baby in the womb, you have a 20% chance of being aborted, which is a very, very high figure. 1 in 3 women have had an abortion in the UK. So let's look at what the Bible actually teaches. This is Christian teaching, and a lot of people won't agree with this. Nevertheless, it is Christian teaching. And Jesus actually gave 2 really important commands. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's in Mark chapter 12. And the next one, equally well known, love your neighbour as yourself. And I believe that babies in the womb are our neighbours. A baby in the womb, in the original Greek, is a brephos. This is a newborn baby addressed in the scriptures as a brephos. And here's a baby in the womb addressed in the scriptures as a brephos. As far as God is concerned, there's absolutely no difference between a baby in the womb and a newborn baby. Now, in the UK, we're very familiar with the First World War, in which a whole generation of young people were killed. If you were in the British Army and sent to the trenches in the First World War, you had a 10% chance of being killed, according to a recent BBC documentary. If you are a baby in the womb, you have a 20% chance of being aborted in the UK. In other words, if you're a baby in the womb, it's twice as dangerous to be in the baby in the womb than to be sent to the trenches in the First World War between 1914 and 1918. And that is a fairly staggering statistic. It is really dangerous to be sent to war in the First World War. It is even more dangerous, twice as dangerous, to be a baby in the womb. And should Christians be concerned? Yes, they should. Here are the actual figures. Every day there are 552 abortions in the UK. That's like wiping out 2 typical primary schools. Every week there are 4,000 abortions in the UK. That's like crashing 20 passenger jets. Since the 1967 Abortion Act, there are roughly 8.4 million babies have been aborted, which is roughly the population of Scotland and Wales. And every year, there are roughly 200,000 abortions, which is 2 Wembley stadiums. These are colossal figures, huge figures. Now, I want to look now at the teaching of the parable of the Good Samaritan. Most of us are familiar with the parable of the Good Samaritan. There was a man travelling along a very dangerous road. He was robbed, stripped of his clothes, and left dying, naked and bleeding, by the side of the road. And the first 2 people who passed were religious people. One was a priest, another was a rabbi. Very interesting that religious people passed that dying man by. The person who actually cared was a Samaritan. Now, the Samaritans were universally hated by the Jews. They were disregarded by the Jews, they were disliked by the Jews, and he was the one who had compassion. He was the one who had compassion. And at the end of this parable, Jesus actually asked a really important question. Which of these 3, the religious 2, the priest or the rabbi, was a neighbour to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? Of course, the answer is the Samaritan was the unlikely one. And the people who were not neighbours to the man who fell into the hands of robbers were the people who ought to have been concerned. That is, the religious people. That is the priest and the Levite. Now, this little baby is our neighbour. He's a brephos, he's a baby in the womb. As far as God is concerned, he's the same as a newborn baby. He's the same as an infant. In Genesis 25, he's regarded as a child. It says the children struggled in the womb. This is a little person, and God is very concerned, and I believe that Christians should be very, very concerned about this slaughter of babies in the womb. That is, Christians should be concerned. And I want to ask you a genuine question. When was the last time you heard a sermon in your church on this subject? I believe that if Jesus was actually alive in the UK today, he would be addressing this issue, this genocide of babies in the womb. And I have to say that for the most part, Christians are ignoring this issue. So I want to challenge Christians to speak up on this issue. Please speak out. This should be something which is very, very much spoken about by Christians. There should be representations in all levels of society against the genocide of babies today, this week, this month, this year, in the United Kingdom today. Thanks for listening, and God bless.